Hey folks, Vortex here and welcome to my review of the Joy Audio Shine, if that's the correct pronunciation, as it states there. Now this is a company I've never heard of, and I presume they are new. And it's also the first model I've tried that actually has tuning switches. And it's four of them, so it's quite a unique release, and it's priced around $80 when I did this video. And yet, as usual, full disclaimers, I'd like to thank Linsol for sending this unit to me, so thank you very much. I was not paid to do this video, and all thoughts and opinions are my own. So yeah, quite a unique release. I think it's 2 balanced armatures, 1 dynamic driver. And yeah, let's just see what it's like. It does look similar-ish to KZ with that kind of connector. So I'm not sure who's behind this company. So anyway, let's carry on. So in the box, you get this Joy Audio. I've already been using these, so I'll get to it. In here, there's just some paperwork. This is probably the most important. So I've graphed this already to match one of those 5 options. So pop, classical, R&B, rock, hi-fi and standard. In there, you would have got this kind of case, which is not too bad. That's what the cable came in. You get in here, you can see from through. It's like a SIM tool. It works fine for doing actual switches. You get these tips as well. They're kind of wide bore, as you can see on the top. That looks familiar. I'm not sure what they're called, but you can see they're all kind of wider bores. And the earphones themselves, so I've got them on there now. They do look kind of like KZTRN-ish kind of style. And there, if you can see. 1 to 4. I think it's a bit overkill. I think 2 switches would have been easier, but again, I've graphed it to what they show. You can see, and that's it. It's got KZ Starline tips as well, so I'm quite curious to actually manufacture these. That's it from the side. Obviously, got some fingerprints on it because I've been using it. And here's the cable. So kind of like a KZ-ish kind of TRN or one of those kind of cables. See, it's like, I think is it the T2 cable from TRN. And that's pretty much it. So that's what it looks like. And yeah, so on to the review. Yeah, so welcome to my review section of the Joy Audio Shine. And one thing I didn't show you was the specs. So here's the box. No mic, which makes no difference. So the impedance is 11 up to 31. That's what makes the same differences. I'll get to that in a bit. And yeah, so just use the right unit so you can see another good look. Obviously, it's very small. If you ever lose the tool, you can always just use a SIM card tool or something like that. It should be fine. So comfort, shall we say? I found the comfort was actually fine. And as you can see through. They're a very interesting build, so I'm quite curious to actually manufacture these, as you can see through. So you can just about see through. Quite unique, but yeah, the fit was not the best. So if you're sitting down, it's fine. But I wouldn't want to jog with these. I think they'd come out your ear, and obviously you don't want that. Yeah. So power and sensitivity is where these are different. Sensitivity doesn't change. Sometimes you need to turn the volume up or down a little bit. That's the only difference because of the impedance. But they're not that hard to drive. It's depending on the tuning, but the one's a little bit harder than the other. Just something like this is fine, or Apple adapter or something like that should be fine, really. Stage was not as big as I thought. I was wanting to be a little bit bigger sounding, but it's okay. It's not too bad at all, really. Yeah, so sound, really, so that's what it's all about. That's why these are about $80, and it's a 2BA 1 dynamic, and you can see the BAs there, which is good because obviously you don't want them in the nozzle. Yeah, and put the graph on now. So these are a funky set to set up, and one thing to notice: the hi-fi and the classical, even though you do change the settings, these settings, quickly show you, it graphs the same, so and they do kind of sound the same. So yeah, 5 versions, which they recommend. You can probably do more if you're funky with what you change. Yeah, so it depends on the base. So let's go to standard. Standard looks the most basic, most warmish, shall we say. These aren't really heavy bass monsters, but they do have enough hit. The DD, the views seems fine. I think it's only a 7mm, so it's a smaller one. But as you can see on the graph, basically like, is it 800 and up, it's all pretty similar. I think the pop one has a little bit more trouble than everybody else, but it's not much really in it, to be honest. It all sounds super similar, or it's just placebo kicking in. The differences are everything below the 800. So like the standard one probably sounds, it's probably the most coloured, you can see, because it bleeds a lot more. Where you got something like the pop one, which is a cleaner mid-range, while the lower mid-range is cleaner, and then the bass pops up. It all depends on what kind of sound you want, but like I said, the classical and the hi-fi sound the same to my ears anyway. But it all depends on, as you say, kind of what you want. They are, again, kind of a funky set. I think you probably want something in the middle, so maybe the pop one, or the R&B and rock, maybe what I think most folks might pick, because it's got a little more low end. But the DD, the view seems fine, and I think somebody opened this up and it seems to match a KZ driver, so I don't know what that's about and who actually makes this, but yeah. So yeah, but the DD, the views for the low end is fine. You pick your poison basically. So mid range, it is all they've got all forward mid range, as you can see, the upper part. Depends if you want that something sounds cleaner, or something that's a bit coloured, or like the standard does bleed a bit. It all depends on your music genres, but you pick your poison. And yeah, it has got elevated upper mid range. It's not too bad. I was hoping it would have gained a bit more. Sometimes it can be a touch fatiguing depending on instruments and singers that sit in that area. And treble, as you can see, just under 3k. I don't like that. It can be a bit fatiguing, and it affects all settings, as you can see. Classical, hi-fi, standard, pop, and R&B. So just bear that in mind. But yeah, apart from that, it does have enough treble going on. It doesn't fall off a cliff, but you want a bit more stage. I didn't really notice any sibilance, but you just want, if it was me, I'd want that just under 3k lower. And yeah, apart from that, it seems okay. The drivers they've used seems to be sufficient enough, and it helps that they're not in the nozzle as well. And yeah, it seems to be, it has enough of a variance for the tuning. I think it would have been better if you could tune it the other way. So if when you adjust the switches, it would probably change mid-range and the treble more at the top, because I think that's more where you might notice it. But they're not a bad set. Yeah, so conclusion, do I recommend these? Yeah, $80 with 4 switches, which I think is overkill. I think could have been done by 2. But yeah, it has enough tuning options. I think it would have been better more at the top end variation. So if you wanted really dark sounding, or loads of treble, or less treble, or whatever. But yeah, they're not a bad set. I like that it's different, and $80 to get that kind of setup. The build's interesting, as you can see, like the soundboards, it's hard to catch in the light sometimes. See, like there you can see how the build, it seems very interesting how it's done. You can see there. But yeah, not a bad set, quite unique. Apart from, like I said, about the treble, that just under 3k, and the sub bass roll off, not a bad set. Pick your poison. Okay, if you like it, probably the standard. I think normal folks might prefer the standard. I prefer the cleaner, slightly cleaner options. But yeah, not a bad set. If you want anything particular, let me know in the comments as per usual. And yeah, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.